From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
I'm Kristen Merkel in Bozeman, and I stood out of the USPS on Baxter Lane today and asked people if they were more satisfied with their mail services, what they said, and what people are saying on social media coming up.
I'm Jonathan Amberian in Lewistown. The U.S. military has released new information about a massive upcoming project to upgrade the country's ground-based nuclear missiles. I'll let you know what impact that project could have in central Montana.
Friday morning, Chet Lehman with you here. That's a live shot on our community hospital of Anaconda ICAM. Lovely shot there. Nothing compared to what you're about to show us, though.
No, we had a viewer, Chris, and I'm not going to pronounce your last name, and that's on purpose. I'm sorry, Chris.
It's spelled correctly.
It is spelled correctly. I double-checked.
Yeah.
Beautiful shot, Chris. Thank you for
Chris
sending
W.
it. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So out of Anaconda.
Awesome.
So thank you. Hey, if you have photos, we'd love to share them. You can send them in. You can do it off the weather app, or you can send them news tips, whatever you want. I'll share them. I'm not afraid. Temperatures into the 40s and 50s this morning, 39 in West Yellowstone, one of the cooler temperatures. A very isolated chance of a pop-up shower or thunderstorm this afternoon, and it's not widespread, and it's mainly to the east. I don't expect to see a lot of that development overhead for us. Daytime highs near 90 degrees for the afternoon. We'll look for windy conditions. We do have higher fire danger. We'll talk more about that, of course, in just a few minutes.
There's a carrier pigeon with a thumb drive at the window.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, you said you'd take it no matter how they delivered it.
Okay, perfect.
You better check on that.
Chase it
clip
down
right there. Yeah, there you go. Carrier pigeon. 6:32. Now, last week we told you about mail delivery problems at the main Bozeman post office. We followed up with a university professor explaining how the post office is still having problems in spite of more hires. Now, MTN's Kristen Merkel covered that story. Behind the scenes, we're going to try to get that to you here in just a moment. Meantime, in other news right now, Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks, working with the Montana Department of Transportation, has closed part of the Yellowstone River because a railway bridge near US Highway 89 crosses the Yellowstone River. This is east of Livingston, dangerously close to falling into the water. It was built in 1897. Has stood since then, but the recent historic flooding in Montana caused a safety concern. On our website, you'll find details and a link to restrictions and closures. Again, that's on the Yellowstone east of Livingston. In other news, Department of Defense now releasing its draft environmental impact statement for the deployment of the ground-based strategic missiles. Massive project with the acronym GSBD replaces and upgrades the United States land-based nuclear missile system and includes decommissioning of the aging Minuteman III missile system. Now, the EIS gives us the clearest look yet at the work that will take place in Montana and 6 other western states. It includes the complete renovation of all 450 existing missile launch facilities, the construction of 24 new missile alert facilities, and 62 new communication towers. Now, within the missile fields overseen by Malmstrom Air Force Base, Minot Air Force Base in North Dakota, and F.E. Warren Air Force Base in Wyoming. MTN senior reporter Jonathan Amberian details the impact this effort could have on Montana communities over the next decade.
For decades, central Montana has played host to 150 Minuteman III missiles, a key part of the U.S. nuclear defense system. And the transition to the new GBSD, or Sentinel system, will mean years of construction and other projects across the region.
There's going to be a considerable amount of activity.
The 341st Missile Wing at Malmstrom Air Force Base oversees 150 launch facilities, the silos where missiles are kept, and 15 missile alert facilities, where military personnel operate the system. They're spread out over 8 Montana counties. It will still be several years before work begins in Montana, and it would continue for years after that. Air Force Project Manager Russell Bartholomew says it could start around 2025, with several new buildings at Malmstrom. The current missiles will be moved to Malmstrom one at a time, before being shipped out of state to be decommissioned. And the existing facilities will have to be upgraded to be ready for the new missiles.
All 150 launch facilities will be renovated and made like new. And the existing 15 missile alert facilities, 8 or more of those, up to all of them, may be renovated and replaced.
Crews could also build hundreds of miles of utility corridors to connect the facilities. To support the project, leaders are planning 2 workforce hubs, one in Great Falls and one in Lewistown. Between them, they'll house around 2,000 temporary workers, and up to 3,000 at the peak of construction. State Senator Dan Bartel, a Republican from Lewistown, says local leaders have already started discussions with the military and their contractors, and that it's important for everyone to be planning ahead for when the work starts.
This could be a huge positive for the Lewistown and the surrounding community. As all communities, we have housing issues. But if we get ahead of the game, we should be able to work out those housing issues and work with Northrop Grumman when they come to town.
The Air Force is taking public input on the EIS, now through August 15th. Leaders say they're optimistic the military and the public can get on the same page before work begins.
I think as a whole, we've lived with these missiles for years.
The Air Force is a partner in the region just as much as the people who live there. We've been there for 50 years, and the plan is to continue to be there for another 50 years. So we want to make sure that we're planning properly to account for the impacts of such a construction project.
Public hearings on the draft EIS will be held next Tuesday, July 26th, at the Mansfield Center in Great Falls, and next Thursday, July 28th, at the Central Montana Fair in Lewistown. In Lewistown, Jonathan Amberian, MTN News.
All right, thank you, Jonathan. We're going to head back to that post office story. Now, last week we told you about mail delivery problems at the main Bozeman post office. We followed up this Wednesday with a university professor explaining how the post office is still having problems in spite of hiring more workers. Now, MTN's Kristen Merkel has the latest on what is going on behind the scenes in Bozeman to try to fix the problem.
I'm here at the USPS on Baxter Lane, and after weeks of residents not being able to send or receive mail and talking to some residents about it last week, I stood outside this very location for about 45 minutes and asked people what they were experiencing, and it seems that customers seem to be more satisfied, but there still seems to be a lot of complaints on social media. Customers outside of USPS Thursday say they are starting to receive their mail more frequently, but if you look on social media, many people report a different experience. In Facebook posts complaining about the Baxter Lane USPS service, one customer stated they are still not receiving their mail and that a USPS representative told them to put their mail on hold for a quicker delivery.
It's extremely disappointing to see what's going on, not only in Montana, but the current situations that you mentioned in Massachusetts, Kentucky, Indiana.
Newsy's Maritza Giorgio spoke with a USPS employee frustrated with the current situation.
We've been struggling. We've had to overburden our employees.
In a letter to Senator Steve Daines, a USPS representative says, quote, "The Bozeman USPS has been dealing with the effects of high growth within the city, and in response to these staffing challenges, non-delivery days have temporarily been established on a rotating basis, and as such, some customers may not receive mail delivery on certain days. In addition, postal employees from offices across the state are being loaned to assist with mail delivery." According to a USPS official, they've been hosting job fairs to keep up with the growth and are determined to fix these delivery issues as soon as they can.
This is going to go all summer long. We're going to keep doing it until we get the employees that we need to have.
In Bozeman, Kristen Merkel, MTN News.
All right, 6:38. Another news this morning. The Federal Reserve will decide next week whether to raise interest rates for the fourth time this year. Some analysts are predicting a full percentage point raise. That would be the largest since 1989. Last month, the Fed raised interest rates by 3/4 of a percentage point, the largest hike since 1994. Dan Grossman spoke with experts on why they think a future hike might be an overreaction and how that could affect you.
Just how many interviews have you done about interest rate hikes since they were first being discussed? I'd imagine a lot.
A whole bunch. Yep.
With so much talk about interest rates and inflation, we wanted to sit down with someone who knows the economy inside and out. Someone like Josh Bivens, who is the research director at the Economic Policy Institute in Washington, D.C.
Part of the issue is that as an inflation control strategy, interest rate hikes are not so great right now. I think a lot of the sources of inflation we're seeing are things that interest rate hikes aren't going to really get at.
We've discussed how interest rates make it more costly to borrow money, so they affect big purchases like homes, cars, and the credit card debt we carry over from month to month. But they don't do much to change the price of everyday purchases like gas and food. It's why Josh is wary of another big interest rate hike.
I would just sort of tell people to discount the last inflation number they heard much more than they usually would, because we just know so much of it is obsolete. So much of the price pressure is oil and food, and those prices have gone in a very different direction in the past 2 to 3 weeks.
The Fed will likely base its decision on June's inflation report, which showed prices were 9.1% higher than a year prior, much higher than people expected and the largest rise in 40 years. But as Josh points out, since that report, the average price of gas has fallen by 38 cents, and food prices have fallen for the third consecutive month. While they are still considerably higher than a year ago, they indicate a shifting trend, which is what Josh says is the most important thing to pay attention to. Too much overcompensation by the Fed, and he says the interest rate hike could lead to a recession, since it makes it more expensive for businesses to borrow money as well.
If you're Starbucks and you're not opening a new franchise somewhere because interest rates are higher, you're not hiring the workers to staff it. And so the way this will really affect normal people, the vast majority of them over the next 6 to 12 months, is in a weaker job market.
I'm Dan Grossman.
All right, 6:41. We're going to take a break here on Montana This Morning.